Welcome back to RecNation. This week we got the UForce 600 out and we're going to answer some questions. One of the questions we had was on how much space there is on the UForce. You can fit 3 adults wide. There is only 2 seat belts, so it's designed for only 2 adults. But you can fit 3. It's a little snug from side to side, but it is pretty comfortable. You gotta keep in mind it's only a mid-size chassis, but you can see here I'm about 5'10". I got plenty of leg room. It's not too cramped for your feet. The other thing is, the steering wheel does tilt. I'll show you that here in a minute, but you can have that kind of set anywhere in the range to kind of give you more room for driving, or where it's comfortable for your hands to be on there. And in this case, I have my wife riding with me, and you can see as for the passenger, they got plenty of space as well too. So both sides are fairly decent for as far as leg room goes. Right here you can see the tilt steering. I have it tilted down. I still have plenty of leg room. It's infinitely adjustable. It's not like clicks in there, so you can go anywhere, wherever you want to, and once you release the handle, then it locks into place. Alright, the next thing we're going to look at here is, I had one viewer ask, is it loud? So I have a decibel meter here, and we're going to take a look at what the decibels are on this as we're driving. So once I get this set here, we'll take a reading with it at idle. Here you can see at idle it's 71.1 decibels. And then what we'll do is we're going to take a drive, and we'll keep an eye on that decibel meter as we go. And we'll cruise at different speeds here. We cruised at 25, and it was about 87.8, I believe. And then we ticked it up a little bit, and we started cruising at around 35 miles an hour. And then we took our second reading for cruising at 35 miles an hour. And that shows 89.4 decibels. And I floored it there, and with wide open it went to 110 decibels. It's not overly noisy in my opinion. You can see, we'll keep an eye on that. As I was driving, it was a lot easier to read than it is here on the screen. But we're wearing helmets on this. It was kind of a cold day. It was low 30s, and there was like a 30-mile-an-hour wind, which took our wind chill right down to almost 0. So we had helmets, and I got my snowmobile gloves on here to stay warm. But if we leaned into each other, we could talk loudly, and then we could hear each other talking. But without the helmets, I think you'd easily be able to carry on a conversation, even with it cruising. So a normal conversation is about 60 decibels. Typical motorcycle engine's around 95 decibels. And they say anything over 120 decibels for long term can harm your ears. So at 45 miles an hour, you can see 97.3 on the decibel meter. As far as moto sports go, it's pretty right in the category of everything else. So to compare that, the average motorcycles are at around 95 decibels. A whisper is about 40. Normal conversations right around 70 decibels. A playground, you're talking 80 to 90. Construction equipment like a power drill or hammer drill, right around 110, and a jet engine is usually around 130. So if you use that kind of to gauge, we were averaging right around that 80 to 90 range for cruising, and 110 decibels wide open. That it's pretty standard for a power sports. We cruise around here a little bit. I was heading out to road that's got a little more corners on it. These are all pretty straight and hilly. I was looking for a nice straight stretch to see what the top speed was. Again, it's not fully broken in. There's roughly only about 70 miles on this thing at this point, and it did hit 50 miles an hour. It seemed like it was rev limited. At 50 miles an hour, it was 6,000 RPM. and that was as fast as it would go. But it felt like there was some kind of limiter there that wouldn't allow it to go over that. But here you can see, we're cruising along at 45, and it cruises along just fine at 45. It does feel like it's a higher revving motor. At doing 45, we're 53, 5,500 RPM as we're cruising down the road. The other thing we did here is we took it out and found some corners. There was a couple of S curves that were advisory speed limit of 25 miles an hour. I was able to take the UForce 600 around those corners at 35. There was some slight body roll. It didn't feel unstable or unsafe taking a 25 mile an hour corner at 35. We tried to get it on camera. Unfortunately, the battery died before we got to the point where we did the top speed test and the cornering test. As always, I'll end commentary and let you listen to the sound of the engine as we cruise along. Thanks for watching this week's episode of RecNation. I hope you enjoyed it. Join us again next week. Have a good day.